Hey guys, Josh here. So, just like I found the Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice plot details, leak stuff, similarly I found ones for Avengers Age of Ultron. Now, the link to it is still active, unlike the Batman v Superman one, and unlike Batman v Superman one, the guy didn't give personal information. Thus, I feel comfortable actually sharing the link this time. Because last time me and CJ decided not to share because the guy gave some personal information out, and we didn't want to add on to, him basically just getting in more and more trouble with Warner Brothers, which it seemed like he did get in trouble for. But yeah, this guy, he just says he's a part of production and just finished seeing the rough cut of the film. So that's very vague. He could be anyone really on the production team. Not really anyone, but he didn't give personal-ish details like the last guy who was a total dumbass. You never do that on the internet, especially when you're posting leaks to blockbuster films. But anyways, so I'm going to go through these. I'm not going through them in chronological order. I'm going through them for how he, revealed stuff when people asked him about the movie and everything. With that being said, if you guys have any more questions, I'm putting the link in the description. You guys can go check it out. But since the movie is not out yet, obviously spoilers, but also take everything with some sort of grain of salt. A lot of things that are said here are very much possible from what we know about the movie so far, but at the same time, until the movie is out, we cannot say it's confirmed. If that makes sense. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. I'm not going to talk about it too much. I'm going to just, hit the points and keep going because it's 2 o'clock in the morning and I'm really tired. But anyways, yeah, nobody dies in this film, surprisingly. Hawkeye almost dies, but ends up not dying. Black Widow does not lift the hammer like everybody thinks she's going to for some reason. The person that lives, not the person, but the thing that lifts the hammer is the Vision. And then also there's no Infinity Stones or Infinity Gems in the Age of Ultron movie. The only thing that's kind of in the movie that's like that is the staff, like Loki's staff, which has the Mind Gem. Now, the Superhero Registration Act is only referenced in this film. They use it to explore how the government is uneasy about superheroes running around unsanctioned. And we see Rogers and Stark being placed on opposite sides of the conflict, with Stark believing in some sort of registration for the gifted, while Steve Rogers is against it. So they do set up for Civil War somewhat in this film. Also, a lot of people had, asked him about this. Romances in the film. He says Bruce Banner and Black Widow have a romance going on, and also Captain America and Maria Hill have one too. But they don't go too deep into that one. Now, the Avengers at the end of the film are outlawed by the government. Tony Stark officially retires, even though we know that's not going to last long. Thor goes back to Asgard, and he has an interesting vision, which I'll get to in a little bit. Bruce Banner has to get off the grid again, because, when he was hulking out throughout the film, he caused a lot of damage, and, people did die. So basically, he's kind of in the same predicament he was in the Incredible Hulk movie. Captain America refuses to leave the world unprotected and reassembles a new Avengers team with Black Widow, Hawkeye, Falcon, Quicksilver, and Scarlet Witch. So that fits with what we know so far. Now, Ultron disables Stark Tech, and throughout the film to give him an advantage, obviously. Falcon is in the film somewhat. He's referenced running down a lead on Bucky's whereabouts. So that's still going on in the background. Now, there's parts of the film where Hulk is out of control, killing everybody, and Banner is shown throughout the movie having issues controlling the Hulk. Now, it's said he has some sort of nanovirus in him from Ultron that's causing this problem, which would explain why in the trailer it looked like he was kind of sick as the Hulk. He did not look like, regular Hulk, like his eyes were all watery and he was sweating profusely and things like that. Thor sees a vision of Asgard falling. I'll get more in depth on that in a second because he does explain more of that in, more downward. There's a scene where Thor creates lightning. The others storm the base and fight some, what he calls the mooks, just soldiers in the Hydra base. Before Cap goes off to search the computers, Iron Man and Rhodey go and retrieve stolen Chitauri technology. Black Widow steals data on Hydra's research. Hawkeye and Thor fight some, more, mooks, as he calls them, alongside the Hulk. And that's when the twins, which is Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, are released, and there's a big fight between all of them before they are defeated and captured. Now, the way they defeat Ultron is they see if I can find one that, because he says this like twice, and I don't want to say the one that's not as detailed. But anyways, Scarlet Witch rearranges Ultron's components, like with his body and everything, to make him vulnerable to an attack by Hawkeye. So Hawkeye does deliver the killing blow, which kind of goes along the lines of what not Kevin Feige, Feige, but Joss Whedon said that Hawkeye definitely would have a much more important role in this film. Also, Hawkeye is important in, convincing the twins to switching sides. He delivers some cool lines, and obviously, like I just said, ends up delivering the killing blow against Ultron. And Ultron, his main plan is to extinguish the human race, which obviously is not good. And also, the Vision does play an important part also. So, Baron von Strucker is just an opening villain. He has about 10 minutes of screen time tops. Now, Andy Serkis, as most people have kind of assumed, is playing Ulysses Klaue, a vibranium scavenger who collaborates with Ultron to locate a large underground mine in Sokovia. So not Wakanda, but Sokovia. I don't know where Sokovia is, per se. But Claudia Kim is playing a scientist from a South Korean tech company and an old friend of Stark, with some doubts about the Ultron program. And Ultron attacks her company to steal data and upgrade himself, leading to one of the movie's 5 big action sequences. And these big action sequences are the Hydra Raid sequence, the Avengers Tower attack, South Korea fight, Sokovia fight, and Sylvania fight. So it looks like we're not getting a big fight in the United States like we did in the last movie, like in New York in particular, besides the Avengers Tower one. Now, Pinocchio is referenced a lot in the movie. In the end, Wanda uses her powers to basically make Vision like a quote-unquote a real boy with like a soul, somewhat. And after Vision basically kind of gets enlightened, I guess you could say, he sees all the carnage that Ultron, has brought, and that's what makes him turn against Vision, or not makes him turn against Vision. That's what makes Vision turn against Ultron. And this selfless sacrifice that he ends up doing later is what makes him worthy of wielding Mjolnir. Now, more about what Thor saw, like I said before. Thor has a dream that Asgard's in flames, and him being banished to Hell, where he's stripped of his hammer and armor and is pulled into a pool of blood by spooky skeletons, which I guess is some explanation to that one scene in the trailer where he's just like shirtless and everything, just like in this pool, just yelling, because that made no sense to me. He actually does go to Asgard in this film to request Odin's help to save Earth from Ultron, but Odin, who's really Loki, denies it, claiming Earth needs to learn how to fight its own battles, and the measure of suffering is an essential part of the true warrior's formation. As for Bucky, like I said before, during the Hydra Raid, Cap goes through their files to see if he finds anything about them, about like Bucky and stuff like that, like more about it. Strucker confronts him and actually comments about him searching for the Winter Soldier, remarking that Bucky has been conditioned to disappear if compromised, and that Captain America will never find him. So, and then for all the Hank Pym fans out there, it is revealed that the original Ultron project that Tony Stark uses to, make the current Ultron is actually based off an idea that Howard Stark and Hank Pym came up with in the 1960s. So Hank Pym does have some sort of thing left in there. So that's really all he says. If you guys want to know more, go check out the link. It's all in all, it's pretty interesting. I think it's pretty interesting. I hope he's still doing stuff, because I'd like to know, Black Panther, if he's in it, what's his involvement? Wakanda, if it's in it, what's its involvement? But all in all, these are pretty interesting stuff. So if it's true, we basically just spoiled the movie. He just spoiled the movie, and you guys watching this kind of know everything about the movie now. But all in all, I still want to see it, obviously. So I hope it turns out great. Comment below your guys' thoughts on it. And like I said before, I'll post it in the description so you guys can check it out.